Hello everyone. I would like to take this moment to share with you my thoughts on leadership and how I believe it applies to me. Well, I'm going to get a little personal, and yes, I'm risking being judged, but part of being a leader is taking risks. Well, I was at the wrong place at the wrong time, and unfortunately I spent some jail time, about 18 hours, in a holding cell, 31 women, and I've never felt more alone in my life than I did those 18 hours, where I was stripped of all of my rights. I had no privacy, I had no sense of time, I had no idea what was going on. I did not know if anybody knew I was in there. I didn't know if I was ever going to get out. It was like my world disappeared. It just fell apart, and I never want to experience that again. I feel that really connects to my service, my community service, because I spent my service at the Humane Society, and while, as opposed to the first couple times I went, I felt a lot of sympathy for the animals because they looked very sad. As now, I feel empathy. Now I can relate, and I fully understand the feelings that they have, because they are living creatures and they do have feelings as well. Maybe they're not as intelligent as a human being is, but they do understand certain things. And I feel the need to take the initiative and take a couple extra minutes to just pet the animals, to walk them, to just give them some TLC, tender love and care, and especially with the older ones that have been there for years. And I couldn't imagine spending years. I couldn't imagine spending 18 hours that I spent in jail. I couldn't imagine spending years in a holding cell, because that's what it is. If you really think about it, they're imprisoned and they can't do anything about it. So ever since my experience, I've taken the initiative to try to get some of my friends to visit the Humane Society and try to adopt some of the animals that have been there for a longer time. And so far I've succeeded in getting 2 older cats adopted, which was incredible for me. It was an incredible feeling because I felt as if I know what it's like to have been in prison for a while, and then finally you get to go home, and that's just the best feeling in the world. So I think part of what makes me a great leader is I wanted to give up, because I really felt like I did not deserve to go to jail. I felt like I was wrongfully arrested. But even though I wanted to give up and go back home to Orlando and be a child again, I know that's not realistic, and I know that I have to continue to move forward and continue to strive for my goals, to complete my dreams and be the leader that I want to be. I know that I've said this before, but I truly believe in the saying that pressure makes diamonds, and this is a whole lot of pressure on my shoulders right now. Losing my car, going to jail, my dream job is in jeopardy, but somehow I'm coping. Somehow I'm getting there. Somehow I keep finding ways, very creative ways. I started talking to complete strangers at work and asked them, do you live in North Miami? And luckily I found someone that may be able to give me a ride, but I'm not sure yet. But I at least know that I took the initiative to get out of the hole that I'm in right now. And though many doors keep shutting in my face, somehow I managed to keep my head up and continue to smile. And most people would tell you that they don't know what's going on with me. They think that everything's fine, but once they hear something from someone, or I tell them, they're like, oh, I had no idea you were going through such a hard time. So I feel like that makes me a great leader too, the way I can not all the time, because sometimes I do get emotional, but most of the time I feel like I can't hide that. I can separate. For example, at work, I never get emotional at work. I poker face, and it's like nothing happened, and nobody at work knows that what I've been through. And I think that's part of what makes me a great leader, is the fact that I can hide those things when I need to. Going back to the community service, I really learned that I learned how to talk about someone else and make them look good, that being the animals. I started to get to know some of the cats, because I started working with the cats first, and that's who I was trying to get adopted. And I actually got quite a few animals adopted there, for some people that would come in to look for a cat, and that filled me with joy, the fact that I could free some of these animals. So I think part of being a leader is you have to find a cause, you have to give back to the world, and I believe that that's the way I'm giving back to the world, is by, in a small way, because I know not everybody is an animal person, but I happen to be one, and I feel like I'm giving back to the world by just finding an ideal home for these animals that have been living in a holding cell for years, and they're scared, and all they want is freedom, and they just need someone to love them, and I try to do that as best as I can. And I believe I mentioned earlier that no one can believe more in you than yourself, and if you don't have that, then honestly, I don't know what to tell you. You have to somehow, no matter if you hit rock bottom, you have to somehow lift yourself back up. Nothing is ever given to you. You have to work for it. All the great leaders in this world that have been, that still are, I guarantee you, they have stories. They all have stories, and I guarantee you that they have gone through some form of hardship, and they have made it to be the person that they are today, or that they were. And I hope to be just like one of those leaders, and I hope to be the person that I know that I can be, the leader that I can be. And I really hope that I can continue to persevere, and no, I will persevere, I will continue, I will move forward no matter what is thrown in my way. I will be the leader that I know that I am, that I know that I will be. Thank you for your time, and again, I want to remind you that I strongly believe that pressure makes diamonds, and one day I will accomplish that. Thank you.